Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Out and about today. I'm in lovely Brisbane. Hey, I don't know if you guys can see it out there. It's a bit rainy, actually. But it's always an impressive place to be. Beautiful Brisbane. Looking forward to hanging out here for a couple of days with my team. But good morning to all of you guys. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. A little bit late this morning, but a bit late than never, they say. Hey, morning, Alison. Morning, Sharon. Jinmay, Luke, James. Hope you're all awesome and well, folks. It's another Wealth Coffee Chat. Yeah, it's not flooding. Gee, yeah, stay safe in Sydney. Plenty of rain everywhere. Plenty of water. Bit of a challenge for some of the Sydneyites, wherever you are. If you're down there, make sure you stay safe. That's for sure. Hopefully, we're coming to the end of this wet part of the El Nino or whatever they're calling it. We shall see. But good to see all of you guys jumping on this morning. Lauren, do the quick intros while we're having a little morning coffee chat. Jason is my name. If anyone who's new, if you're new, give us a shout out in the chat. I can see a few of you guys on this morning. Morning, Bob. Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chat. Something we do around about 10 past 8 each day, Monday to Friday. Usually, yeah, Bob, Andy got the spicy coffee. He got the Rona the other day and went down pretty hard. So fingers crossed, he'll be good this week. We'll come back out with the bang for our wealth, wine, and wisdom. But you've got me for the moment with the morning Wealth Coffee Chat. All right, tell me, folks. This morning I thought we would talk about something that's coming up in the next little while. It's a few years away, but the connection often with many cities in Australia, Melbourne, Gold Coast, and Sydney have all experienced this in one form or another when it comes to massive sporting events that come to Australia. Tell me, what are the sporting events that are coming up in the next decade? Ladies and gents, team in the chat, let me know. Tell me which sporting events do you guys know, guys and girls know, is coming, and where are they coming to in the future for Australia? We've got some headwinds right now as property investors. You guys all know this, and the interest rates are going to rise, and they're rising. I think they'll get on with it pretty quick, and they'll knock over, and then hopefully everyone can just realise the world hasn't ended, and life will continue to move forward. World Cycling Championships are well. I didn't know that one, Bob. That's a newbie. That's good. I'm going to put that on my list. No, my list. Hey, morning, Chris. Yeah, we've got some big events coming up, and often attached to these events are international. So what happens before these things as we go along? FIFA in Melbourne, I love it. All right, well, here's a few. Let me see if I can get onto my little presentation here. Here's a few that are um, happening right now not right now, but lined up to happen real soon. So we've got the Victorian Commonwealth Games, folks. In 2026, there is the Commonwealth Games coming to Victoria. And it's saying Victoria because it's not only Melbourne, it's going to be spread out around, the whole state. So, what has to happen? Tell me right now in the chat, what has to happen before we can host the Com Games in 2026, folks? What's going to happen to that state? Okay, tell me. What will the government do? What will the national government do? What is going to happen? So 2026, we're in 2022, folks. It's not too far away. And Karen's right onto it. There'll be infrastructure. There'll be development. There'll be money spent. There'll be better transport. Melbourne right now is certainly needing a little bit of a pick-me-up. It's certainly. I was down there the other weekend, and it's certainly on the way back, folks. It's certainly not, not in the dredges down there. They're really coming back strong and hard and making a good fist of getting Melbourne back into it, right? And it's a great city. It's a very livable city. Won the most livable city, I don't know, 10 years in a row or something. It was huge. Now, that didn't disappear overnight. We had COVID, as in the city didn't go away. COVID came along and everyone got a little bit of a touch-up. But, this is only 4 years away, folks, 4 years away. We're 2022 right now. The Victorian government's going to be pouring money into there. The world is going to see Melbourne. The world's going to come and visit Melbourne. The world's going to bring tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to Melbourne and Victoria for the Commonwealth Games. It's only 4 years away. We're at the lowest shortage of construction we've seen in over 20 years. We've got the lowest vacancy rate, we've seen in history across the country, and Melbourne is getting there. If you take some of those student accommodation and inner city dwellings out of the vacancy rate picture in Melbourne, which we wouldn't be investing in anyway as investors. Like, you guys know this, you don't invest in CBD locations as in 3000. Like you don't invest in that postcode because the lenders hate it, etc. I've talked about this before. If you took those postcodes out of the picture, every single capital city in Australia is under 1%. It's ludicrous. And then we've got things like the Commonwealth Games coming, and we've got things like immigration getting back and growing as well. There's 600,000 potential students to come back to Australia over the next 2 years, folks. It's huge. Anyway, there's one really interesting thing coming. The Commonwealth Games, it's coming in Melbourne. What's the next one? Let's see if anyone know the next one. It was good to see a few that I didn't know about, which was the FIFA in Melbourne. You've got the old World Cycling in Wollongong as we go. The Olympics is coming up in Brisbane, Marie. There's one there's an interesting one coming up before the Olympics. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna have to sneeze here. Hang on. Live. Anyway, I think I got the mute button just before that happened. Anyway, so the Olympics is coming in 2032 in Brisbane. We know that one. There's one beforehand that's pretty interesting as well, which is this. Check that out. All right. Australia to host the 27 and 29 Rugby World Cups. Rugby World Cups. Now, it's not as big as soccer, but still, again, it's a worldwide event, which brings lots of people to Australia and more revenue, more visitors, and more infrastructure to be put in place. Excuse me. So for all of us, we've got the World Cycling Championships in Wollongong. We've got some soccer coming. We've got some rugby coming. We've got the Commonwealth Games coming, and the big one, the big finale. Not really the finale, but the big one also is the Olympic Games in Brisbane coming for 2032. So really, I mean, the next decade, folks, in Australian real estate is pretty, I think it's going to be pretty interesting, pretty amazing. The only thing that's an unknown right now is is going to be the interest rates, and I think we'll know where that lands. I think we'll know the lay of the land, the score, by the end of this year or early next. And then, folks, then everyone will realise that the world hasn't ended, and then be scrambling their butts off to try and get a piece of the action. And then, if you and I are in place as property investors with our portfolio and our plans, I think we're going to be pretty well rewarded for that type of stuff as you go along. So there you go, folks. I thought I'd sort of touch base with some of that this morning. I don't have my iPad today, so I had to do a little presentation for you guys on Keynote. So feel a little bit lost without my iPad this morning. I left it somewhere last night. I've got to go get it this morning. So excuse me. So yeah, listen, Bob. I think the idea, when the majority of the market are sort of thinking, oh, the world's going to end, you can always nick a good deal, and especially if it's part of your plan, folks. It's kind of averaging out. So sometimes you buy, a discount deal. Sometimes you buy a deal, because it's in a great location. You might pay full price, but averaged out over time, you end up with a pretty good outcome for you and your portfolio. All right, folks, that's it. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted this morning. A quick, short one, but hopefully it's useful just for us to think about, this next 6 to 8 years in our investing. Melbourne, Brisbane, certainly two amazing cities to be aware of. And there's plenty of other places that are going to get some momentum, infrastructure, spending, attention when it comes to these world-class sporting events in our neck of the woods. All right, that's it. I'll call it done and dusted. Wealth Coffee Chat over and out. Join me tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee Chat. You guys be good, be well, wherever you are. And bye for now. See you, team.